President Trump announcing massive investments in energy and AI infrastructure, signaling that more are on the way.
The investments being announced this afternoon include more than $56 billion in new energy infrastructure and more than $36 billion in new data center projects. And a lot more than that are going to be announced in the coming weeks, not even months. I think we could say weeks, right, Howard?
Right, Howard. This as the latest CPI report found that electricity prices have spiked over the last year, rising 5.8%, while utility gas services are up 14.2%. So how can these new investments bring those costs down? Heritage Foundation research fellow EJ Antoni is here with the answer. EJ, what is the answer?
Well, Todd, a lot of what we've seen over the last year in terms of those higher energy prices has to do with things from the Inflation Reduction Act, which did the exact opposite of its name. It ended up making inflation worse, not better. It did that because it moved resources away from reliable types of energy production like natural gas, like coal, and into unreliable things like solar and wind that not only don't perform consistently, but are more expensive as well. And the consequence of that is ultimately higher prices for the consumer. As you start to unwind that, you end up getting exactly the opposite result. You get more reliable and cheaper electricity. And we're going to need that moving forward for all kinds of things in this economy, whether it's AI, electric vehicles, you name it.
So if Trump is able to fully realize his goals on energy independence and maximizing energy output, how low could our gas prices go? How much could our heating oil prices and our electricity bills ultimately drop?
Well, Todd, there's no reason to believe we can't get back to the same energy prices that we had during the first Trump administration, which would be an absolute boon to this economy. Because let's not forget, it's not just about the price of the energy itself. Energy affects everything we do and everything we buy, all kinds of products and services. And so as you bring down the costs of such a ubiquitous input as energy, you end up bringing down prices throughout the economy. Sure enough, energy has really been the deciding factor in each of this year's CPI reports. If we go back and we look at these different months, it has been the times when energy prices go up, like in the month of June, that we see the overall CPI going up a little bit faster. And the CPI has slowed down every time we get those reductions in energy prices. So that's really a key here, not only in supercharging the overall economy, but making sure overall inflation stays low for the American consumer and we get out of this cost of living crisis that the Biden administration left us in.
Quickly on this final topic, the White House announcing a massive trade deal with Indonesia, suggesting more deals are on the way. Why should the person watching at home care at all about this Indonesia deal, thinking to yourself, man, that's a country that's so far away. Why should they care, EJ?
Todd, great question, because they're a major trading partner of China. You know, with all these trade deals, it's not important just that we get deals with our own major trading partners, but with China's. We need to peel these nations out of China's sphere of influence, whether it's Indonesia or India or Australia or Japan. We need to make sure that we are the major influence on those nations because that diminishes China's influence and China's status on the world stage. That's ultimately how you corner China and you corner the Chinese Communist Party and you force them to the negotiating table. Otherwise, they're going to hold all the cards if they still have these major trading relationships. So I really have to applaud the president here. It's amazing what he's been able to do in isolating the Chinese Communist Party and diminishing their leadership and their power on the world stage.
EJ Antoni joining us here on a Wednesday. EJ, thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.